What you doing there with your microphone, Chris?
Yeah, Gary, I thought I would just make sure that everything was connected correctly.
Well, at
Hi,
least you look
everybody.
good. Hello. Thanks for joining us today. We have not gotten started yet. We are going to get started right at the top of the hour. But we did want to get started just a few minutes early. Welcome everybody on, and would love to hear from you. If you don't mind, take a second and head on over to the chat section. And as Chris always loves to know, what is the number one thing you want to take away from your time with us today? That really always helps us kind of customize everything that we're doing for you today.
Yeah, I'm always interested with, when you guys are signing on right now, we always want to make sure that you can hear us and that you can see us, and then help us really tailor this presentation and this information we're going to share with you guys by telling us what the one thing is that you'd like to take away from today's session, because we've got, Gary, how many is it? Like 12 or so different, very specific tactics that they're
We
going
have
to be able to
12
use.
proven strategies.
Yes.
Yep, 12.
Well, and here's the thing: these are like real world. They work. They're proven. But it's also, I think I'm excited to share the examples, because we sell real estate in Austin where we have lots of real world examples where we can say, hey, here's something that we've sent out, or here's something that one of our clients sent out, or here's something you guys really ought to send out.
Well, Chris, I was reviewing everything yesterday, preparing for this, and of all of the sessions that I think we train on, this one is, it's highly relevant in every single marketplace, in every single time of the year. And absolutely every single level of production and experience that agents have. It doesn't matter if you're brand new in real estate or you've been doing this for 21 years like I have. These are some really critical strategies in order to that I think we all have to master in order to really own our own business. Because if we don't do this, then we're just kind of flopping from one strategy or technique or tactic to the next. But man, once you nail these, this is a way to do it.
Hey, Gary, I'm going to make a little adjustment to my sound, because it sounds like you're louder and I'm softer.
Okay.
So I'll be right back.
It may just be my personality. I don't know. All right, so as Chris is heading over to adjust his audio, like we said, if you're just now coming to join us, oh, there you are.
Do I sound a little bit louder, guys? I just made a little bit of, hey, Gina, let us know if you can hear us now. We were taking a brief pause, doing a little bit of a microphone check, microphone check. So let us know if you can see and hear us. We're going to get started in 1 minute. While you're there in the chat section, let us know what you'd like to take away from today's session.
All right, people are saying, yep, everything sounds good.
Excellent. Well, with that, Gary, I know it's like a minute early, but perhaps we should just get started. You want to let everybody know what to expect and what the format of today's session is going to be?
Absolutely. Yeah, so let's do a little bit of housekeeping. What's going to happen here is over probably the next 55 to 60 minutes, we're going to dive deep. Chris and I have both been in real estate a very long time. And what Chris did is he came to me and said, you know what, Gary, we need the 12 proven strategies for getting these high quality leads and quick commission deals. Let's go create this and share this with everybody. So that's what we're going to share over the next 60 minutes. Then what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some additional tools and techniques and tactics and strategies that you can implement into your business in order to fast track this. Then at the end of that, we're going to get into about 30 plus minutes of Q&A. And so here's what is really important and relevant here is that we need you to engage with us here. We need you highly engaged. Head over to the chat section. Anytime you have a question, pose the question. We might not be able to get to it right then, but rest assured that our team is flagging questions and we're going to get to them during the Q&A. And so with that, Chris, it's the top of the hour. Are you ready to roll?
I am ready to roll. So let's just do this. All right, so I see a lot of folks chiming in on what the one thing is that they would like to take away from today's session. Please include that in your comments as we get started here. And with that, I'm just going to start this with a question for you guys. Gary, I wanted to, before we get into these 12 strategies and tactics and techniques for generating leads, and before we get into showing people how to implement these strategies and giving them real world examples, I wanted to frame the conversation a little bit by getting everyone to think about this equation. So do you guys know what this equation is? 600.
Chris, when I first saw this, I had no idea what this equation was and what you were talking about.
All right. Well, some of you might speculate. Is that like, Chris, are you putting that up there because you were helping your daughter with math yesterday or something like that? And here's the fact, is that according to researchers, the average person knows 600 people. Now, this has been greatly expanded because of social media, right? It used to be around, I don't know, a few hundred, but now it's up to 600. Heck, you might be reclusive and maybe you only know 500. Some of you may know way more. And here's the thing. If you know 600 people, which is what the average is, and according to National Association of Realtors, the average person moves every 10 years. What that means is that 60 people every year that you know are moving. Now, they're probably not working with you.
Well, that's the question, Chris. The question is, where are these people buying? Who are they buying and selling with? Because more than likely, it's not with us. And the reason I know that to be true is, on average, most realtors are only selling, they're selling fewer than 12 deals a year. We're not selling 60.
No. And I think this is a really good, and now here's the thing. Not all of the strategies that we're going to share are just about focusing on the people that you know, because it is about getting additional business. But I think this is a really good place to start because, Gary, you always tell folks that the opportunity is within the database or within the sphere of influence. And it's not just about getting repeat business. It's about just tapping into the people who are already going to move.
That's exactly right. It's not like you're out there trying to convince people to move. It's not like you're sitting there trying to produce something that really incents them to move. What we're doing is we just have to make sure that we stay in front. I know you're going to talk about this in a minute, but we have to make sure that we are top of mind when the decision comes in or the conversation comes in. It's like, hey, you know what? Maybe we should make a move. All right. And so now, as we get started and as you're joining us here, if this is your first time joining us on one of our webcasts, let me take a moment and introduce this gentleman over there. This is Christopher Scott. Chris Scott is a digital marketing expert. In fact, Chris was the head of the consumer marketing divisions for Brian Buffini for 11 years, which is incredible. I used to be one of Brian Buffini's students and clients, and I didn't know that Chris was actually producing a lot of the stuff that I was sending out on a monthly basis. After that, after working with Brian Buffini, he ran the sales and marketing divisions for a 2-time Inc. 500 winning company. This is extremely rare. This is quite an achievement. And he did this because of his mastery in marketing and sales. And now he's my partner here at the Paperless Agent. He's actually helping generate over 1,000 leads a month. And so that's why it's critical that you're listening to this guy. We got to give a little bit of credibility here because this guy is the digital marketing expert here in the real estate space. And I'm honored to be sharing this time with you.
Here. Well, let me take a moment to introduce Gary because actually most of what we're going to share today is coming right out of Gary's background, right? So Gary's been selling real estate for 21 years. He's been featured by Apple Computer. Here's what's important and what we want to take away is that Gary, you know, at the height of your career, of your listing career, you were going on 6 listing appointments every single week, carrying over 50 pending or active listings. And so in order to get that business, you had to constantly focus on lead generation. And so I'm hoping today, during today's conversation, when we share everybody these different tactics for generating leads, if you could just really provide as much background, like real world experience stories to be able to help them implement to take this away. Now, I think an interesting thing.
I think you just nailed something there is real world. This is like Chris and I are in the trenches with you. We are out there marketing and selling real estate. And everything we're going to share with you today, this is stuff that we're doing right now in our own business, and it's working. So get ready and take a lot of notes, because this is what we want you taking away, because we want you in this business long term. Because here's the thing, Chris, did you know this fact is that over 87% of realtors leave real estate within 3 years? And it's simply because we don't have, it is rough, but we don't have those 60 deals a year from the 600 people that we know. So it's how do we figure out how to consistently stay in front of all of these people and generate this business? Well, stay tuned, because that's what we're going to get into today.
All right, so I've organized 12 specific ways that you guys are going to be able to generate leads. But I thought, Gary, if you could give everyone an example of how you generated leads day one in real estate for you 21 years ago.
Well, you know, so Chris, here's the thing. It's a small thing. Is I was 23 years old when I started my real estate career, and I walked into my broker's office, and she said, "Okay, Gary, I got your office right down here." She took me down to my office. She goes, "Here's your desk," and I was sharing this tiny office with 4 other desks, and I'm like, "Okay, there's your desk, there's your phone," and I'm thinking, "Good to go. I'm good to go. I got a phone." And then she slaps this thing down on the desk, and it was called a phone book. And she said, "There's your database. Get busy calling. We call this dialing for dollars." And I sat there and I was like, okay, exactly what am I supposed to be doing with this? So what I did is, Chris, I very quickly started picking up the phone, hammering out phone calls, failure after failure after failure, because I didn't know what to say. I didn't know who these people were. I didn't know what they wanted. And so I had no idea what to offer them. So what came out of that is I went and I started learning from other people who were producing at a much higher level than I was, which was 0 at the time. And I started kind of extracting everything I could and implementing different strategies to help me generate business. And that's where these things come from. And, you know, worst case scenario, I don't want you guys sitting there with a phone book or a cold lead list, picking up the phone, dialing for dollars, when there's much warmer traffic, much better potential clients that you could be working with than a phone book.
Well, fast forward today, what percentage of your business is coming from your sphere of influence?
Over 80% of our sales business comes from my sphere of influence, my database that I've been nurturing. And the thing is that we all, Chris, you know, in business, in real estate, we all get really, really busy sometimes, and we forget to stay in touch, or we don't know what to send them. But the thing is it's never too late to reactivate that database.
Well, let's dive into these 12 techniques, campaigns. Here's what I'm going to warn everybody, is that we're going to give you, like, really rapid, as quickly as we can, these 12 different ways to generate leads. Some of you are going to want to implement all of them, and I'm going to warn you, don't do that. It's too much. Pick the 2, 3, 4 maybe things that resonate the most. Now, there might be some of you who are like, you know what, I don't quite care for that campaign, or I don't care for that campaign, and that's okay too. Because my goal and Gary's goal is, if you guys could just take 2 or 3 of these things and generate a couple extra deals over the next several months, then we've done our job. All right. So the first campaign or the first technique is something that, Gary, you've been doing this thing forever. It's called the home anniversary camp. It's simple. Yeah. It's very simple, yet crazy effective. Can you tell everyone what it is? And I've got a screenshot of what it, but just describe what it is, why it works, and how you do it.
So basically what it is as soon as somebody purchases a new home or sells a home and then moves, well, I put that date as their home anniversary date in my database. And if you have a Rolodex, it doesn't matter what you're using, document this date somewhere. And then every single year, send them a handwritten note just like this, and let them know you're thinking about them. Congratulations. Can you believe it's been this long? Congratulations again. And then what happens is that over time, like, you stay top of mind. Can you imagine, Chris, how few handwritten notes we get these days and send out? And if we can really stand out by doing something really simple like this, it's extremely effective. And it's actually really, really effective, and I know we're going to talk about this in a minute, with those people who have lived in their home more than 3 years.
Gotcha. So what we're doing here is just sending a note because you're wanting to recreate that that sense of trust that your client had for you, so that as they encounter conversations with people that they know, if they have a real estate related conversation, you're top of mind. Is that right?
Absolutely. And this also becomes a topic of conversation that they'll have with other people. It's like, holy cow, did you know that my wife and I have been in our house for 3 years now? They're like, no, wow, how'd you know that? Oh, my realtor sent me a note.
Gotcha.
It's really, really effective.
Now, you mentioned that from time to time, you even sent note to, like, if you were listing the home, that you would send a note to the buyer.
Well, so here's the thing, Chris, is a very high percentage of home buyers do not hire the realtor that helped them purchase their home. And it's because they're not top of mind. So it is an opportunity for me to be top of mind. So let's say that you were the home buyer, but I represented the seller. I would still send out these notes. I add these individuals to my database. I send out these personal handwritten notes because I know that their realtor is not going to be staying in touch with them. So it's my job to do that.
Gotcha. Now, that first campaign, or that first tactic, actually segues really nice into this second program for generating leads, which is the one that I asked you, if your next meal depended on generating business, what would you do? And this is what you said you would do. So this is the Move Up program. It's similar to the home anniversary in a sense, but it doesn't have the same time constraints. So can you walk everyone through the 3 steps to this, and then we'll show everyone the examples of what to send out.
Well, you remember in that first campaign, we are documenting the home anniversary date. This is something that we need not just to send out note cards, but also to have this campaign go out. So number one, as you're collecting this data, go in and research your database and find those individuals or those families who have been living in the same house for more than 3 years. Now, this is important because according to the NAR, people move between 3 and 10 years. Well, if the average is 7 to 10 years, but what about the people who are moving every 3 to 4 or 5 years? Well, I need to make sure I catch them.
Gotcha.
So I researched that, flag the people, find the people who have been living in the same house for over 3 years. Then I just simply create a very quick CMA. This is not an in-depth CMA. This is not one that I'm going to like sign my life to. This is just a quick CMA that I need to provide them because I'm providing them value. That number one is it's very personalized and they know it. I'm providing relevant information and valuable information for them. Then I email it to them and I follow up with a phone call or a text message, or however I'm going to stay in touch with them. In addition to that, I will run a Move Up home buyer ad at the same time. And Chris, you can talk about that.
So the key thing here is researching to get that information on who's been in their home for at least 3 months, and then producing a CMA, right? So you could use your MLS, or I've heard people using RPR to do the CMA. And then it's all about the follow-up. I wanted to share everybody the email that we attach the CMA to, because I think that really—
No, time out, Chris. Yeah, but before we get to that email, I saw a couple questions, and it's like, what if we're new agents and I don't have any past clients? Okay, this is not just past clients
that they know, right?
It's anybody in your database, anybody who knows you, anybody who you know, and it doesn't have to be somebody that you've sold a house to. Anybody you know, you do this for.
Well, that's a good point, because when we started this session off, we said that the average person knows 600 people. 600 people. So if you're a brand new agent, you probably still know 600 people, and that people are moving every 10 years. So even as a brand new agent, 60 people that you know are going to move, right? Like somewhere out there. Now, they don't have to be past clients. It could just be somebody who has a relationship with you, somebody who trusts you. But this is an important thing, that people are moving all the time around us, right? All throughout our personal networks, people are moving. And so it's not just about, hey, what about the past clients? Because they could still research those individuals to be able to share this information with them, right?
Absolutely. It is everybody you know who's living in your marketplace.
Gotcha. All right. So then we produce the CMA. and we attach it to an email that looks like this. Now, this is something you want to pay attention to because it really communicates the nuances of implementing this program. So I'll just read it out, Gary.
Yeah, do that because some people may have a hard time reading this.
Yes. So, hey, Gary, in reviewing my records, it looks like you've been in your home for over 4 years. Isn't it amazing how time flies? Out of curiosity, I took the liberty of running a market analysis on your home to see its current estimated value. You can see the analysis attached to this message. Did you know your home's value has increased by approximately 20% in the last 4 years? That's an $80,000 increase. Historically, people move every several years as we go through life changes. If you're thinking of moving in the next 18 months, I wanted you to know about my Move Up Buyer program, okay? When you sell your home with me and buy another within 90 days, you'll get a credit towards closing costs so you can really move up on your next move. Now, for some of you guys, you'll have to figure out what your Move Up program is and what you're going to offer and how to execute it. But the Move Up program becomes the, oh, that's something for me to take action on. Are you curious about what's for sale? If you'd like access to my customized home search tools, please send me a quick message. Now, here's the PS, and this is very, very important. PS, if you have friends or family members who could benefit from my Move Up Buyer program, please tell them about it. Because of you, I'd be happy to make this program available to them. And so we attach this.
So what we just did there, Chris, yeah, what we just did there is so many different things. Number one, we're offering value. We're helping them understand how much equity that they have in their house. We're making an offer of help. We're giving them a credit. And then what I love here is I didn't used to have this PS in here. You put this PS in here, and it was, you know what? This is a referral tool. If you know somebody who might be interested in this program, I'm your guy. And so that right there, it takes care of so many different things.
So one of the things that you're trying to do is constantly give people a reason and make it easy to refer you. It's very hard for someone to refer us. You know, here's something that most people don't realize is that according to the National Association of Realtors, 44%, it's the largest single slice of the pie. 44% of the business that we get as real estate professionals comes through referred business. It's more than repeat business, right? It's referred business is the single largest chunk. People would rather get a referral to somebody new than even work with us again, according to the stats.
Yeah.
So
now here's another thing, Chris. Allie just added this in the chat section. Allie said, what if you do this to your neighborhood like farming? Now we're talking.
Now you're putting
absolutely
this on steroids. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's also a great way for you to provide value. I mean, what's a better way to provide to be able to connect with people in your farm area or in your neighborhood just by sharing random information or working to create value in the form of that CMA and providing it to them? It's going to have such a much bigger impact. Now, the key to this thing too, it's not just sending the information out. It's all about the follow-up, the calls, messages, stop by if you're going to farm that area, do door knocking and ask about it. Hand deliver it if you want to. But the key is in the follow-up, which leads us to the next program. We're going to have to just keep moving quickly, Gary. I realize we're only 20 minutes.
Yeah, no, I got it. I get so excited about some of these. We could talk about this for hours. Let's talk about the builder program, Chris.
Okay. This is one of those that requires a little bit of context because there's 3 different ways that we can work with builders. Gary, can you explain to everybody sort of 3 different ways?
Sure. Well, and you know, the first one I think most people are they're used to is that we bring our buyers to purchase a builder's house. I'm not going to get into that because, duh. I mean, that's one way.
You don't.
However, these other
that, right?
No. But number 2 is helping buyers sell their homes. So let me break this down for everybody real quick. So Chris, let's assume you and Nicole wanted to buy a brand new house from a builder. Okay. Mm-hmm. Do you have a house you need to sell?
Yes.
Okay. Is that builder going to help you sell that house?
No, it's an obstacle for them. They're like, you got to sell your house so you can qualify to buy this house.
Absolutely. It's an obstacle. So what happens is if I can come in as a highly competent listing agent and meet with the builders and say, I'd love to help your home buyers market and sell their homes so that We can help you make sure that you close on your properties on time. Would that be helpful? Huge benefit to the builder. And then it's also a huge benefit to the seller, because this is an interesting fact, Chris. Most home buyers, when they go in to meet with a builder rep, have not spoken with a realtor about selling their house. Mm-hmm. And so if that builder rep says, hey, we got you covered, we got somebody who's going to help you, you're in. So if you can help a builder by making sure that you're present, talk to the builder, talk to their sales reps, and talk about how you're going to market and sell their clients' houses, it helps them out a lot. So that's a second strategy. Yeah. The third strategy most people are deathly afraid of, and that is helping builders or developers market and sell their homes to prospective buyers. This is kind of, yeah, what's that?
Why are they afraid of it?
Well, they're afraid because I hear so many different excuses. Well, most builders, partners, or spouses are realtors. Most of them put them on the MLS themselves. And I'm like, yeah, but here's the question. How effective are they at marketing and selling those homes? And if we can go in and meet with a builder and show them how unique our proposition is to market and sell their house, and how much more quickly we're selling houses on average than the average realtor, it helps that builder liquidate that inventory so they can move on. They can take that profit, move on, and continue building. So it's an enormous opportunity.
So it seems like if I wanted the builder to refer me their buyers who need to sell a home, one thing I need to understand is how to sell their product, but then maybe even offer number three. Like, don't opportunities 2 and 3 kind of go hand in hand?
They do go hand in hand. So this is actually where you can take a builder's presentation and go meet with them and talk to them about how you can help them and the buyers of their properties. And we actually, Chris, based on some demand, you went out and you created this builder program presentation. You want to walk us through this?
Right. So here's what we put together. I'll just give you guys the background story. We've worked with a lot of builders over the years. And at one time, I remember this one specifically, one of our agents, a guy named Eli, he actually asked me to go on an appointment to meet with a builder. There's a local guy here, a local group here in Austin. And I started just communicating, here's what we would do to market your homes, to market your product. And I explained it to them, and they were like, we're on board. I mean, like, yeah, let's just start working with you guys, because we don't know how to do that. We don't want to do all the stuff that you're going to do. And so ultimately what it was like doing a listing presentation for a builder. That's what it was like. It was like doing a listing presentation for a builder. So, fast forward several months, one of our clients had called in, one of our clients from the Paperless agent had called in and said, hey, have you guys done any work with builders? And what that prompted me to do was to take that presentation and turn it into a formal builder program. So what I'm going to share you guys is, if you want to work with builders, it's really good to be able to explain to them, here's what makes us different, right? Here's what makes me different than the other folks that are out there. And it's the same, in the same sense, it's what you do at a listing presentation, but in this case, it's geared towards builders. So I'm just going to run through the slides really quick so they get a sense of what a builder program presentation looks like. And then unfortunately, we'll have to move on to the next campaign. So we talk a little bit about what we're going to do in terms of how we're going to market both the property or project as well as individual units or individual properties. We should give them sample ad placements showing it's going to go on Instagram and Google and on the display network and on YouTube and on Facebook and all the different places. And we want to list out everything that we're going to do to market for them on their behalf, to be able to market essentially those listings. We also let them know, of course, that we'll do traditional marketing like doing open houses and putting in the MLS. But what we're able to do is very concretely show them, here's what we do that's different. And here, because of what we do that's different, is how we outperform the marketplace. Most people might just put a sign in the yard, they put it in the MLS and they pray that it sells. But we have we have a marketing plan for every single property, and this is the kind of results that it's going to produce for them. And so we want to explain to them we worked with other builders, and then just make it easy to get a hold of us. Now time out.
Yes. Time out, Chris. A lot of people here may be saying, I'm a new agent. I've never worked with any home builders before. I don't know any home builders. Who does? You're a broker.
Yeah. So, you'd be surprised. I mean, I think one of the things that, as a new agent, I mean, heck, this is everybody. Gary, let me ask you a question. How much time do you spend driving around looking at real estate?
Too much.
Gary tells me, he'll be out just kind of running errands on the weekend, see a home, pull over, go preview it.
It's hilarious. My wife is like, I'm like, oh, another open house. In fact, this just happened a few days ago in Austin. It was Sunday, and I'm like, oh, another open house. Do you mind if we go in? She goes, yeah, it's okay.
Again. But here's the thing. When you're in your market, you know who the builders in your market are. I mean, that's the thing, is you have to, as a new agent, you do need to develop market knowledge. That's including what's in, what's in your market, what's happening in your market, who's in your market, right? But I don't want to spend too much time on this builder thing, Gary. I will tell everybody that we are going to share with everyone at the end of today's presentation how they can get this builder program template as a gift, right? So
awesome.
But I don't want to talk about it right now because we still got so many different campaigns to cover.
We're at 4 out of 12. Here we go.
The next one, for a lot of you guys might not realize this is a tremendous opportunity. But Gary, I was wondering if you could tell everybody about that story from that Jackson Street listing about how you've used open houses to generate listings. Because if you do an open house, you're walking out with a client, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that this is probably, for me, one of the biggest opportunities out there, whether you're a brand new agent or seasoned, you've been in it for a long time, is that an open house strategy to drive people in and then have the right questions and the right offers of help. And here's what I mean by this. So I had a listing. It was a beautiful listing. I was going to host an open house at this listing. But it was a big house. I think it was, do you remember, Chris, like 7,600 square feet or something like that? It was massive. It was a big house. And so I did not have really the ability to host the open house all by myself. And so I think my webcam froze. Hold on. So what I did is I went out there and I brought in a couple of my agents from my office, and I said, hey, I want you to host this open house with me. And they said, great. And so we went out there and I talked to them. I said, you need to engage with these people and make offers of help. And they said, okay, no problem, we'll do it. And so what they did is they went out there and there was this couple that came in, and the couple came in, and I asked one of my agents, I said, hey, go engage with them and see what you can do here. And they said, okay, no problem. They walk over, and all of a sudden what happens is she takes them a couple bottles of water. Well, the problem is that was the end of the conversation, And I'm like, well, what just happened here? And so I said to her, she came over and I said, okay, so what happened? She goes, well, I did exactly what you told me to. I went and I made them an offer of help, and that was bottles of water. And I said, okay, well, this isn't enough. So what I decided to do is I walked over and I said, hi, I'm the host of this open house. My name is Gary Kreth. And what I'd love to do is to ask a couple of questions. And they said, well, sure. I said, I'm always curious how people find out about my open house because I market these several different ways. And I was just curious, how'd you guys find out about this? And they said, oh, well, no problem. We received the postcard that you sent. And I said, oh, okay, that's interesting. So you must live in the neighborhood. And they said, yeah, we live in the neighborhood. And I said, well, are you thinking of making a move? And they looked at me and they're like, well, no, we're not thinking about making a move. However, we have friends in Houston who are thinking about moving to this neighborhood. Aha. And so I said, oh, okay, what kind of offer of help can I make here? And I said, well, I have a load of drone videos and photos of this house online. Why don't I send you an email with all of that information and you can send it directly to your friends? How about that? And they said, wow, that sounds perfect. And so I did that, and they were very, very grateful for that. And I still stay in touch to them to this day. And so those are different ways that you can make offers of help. You just have to find out what they're interested in order to make that happen for them.
I think the key is asking the right questions, right? Because most people just say, I'm available if you have questions, but you purposefully engage the client or engage the visitor. Because a lot of times we'll think, oh, they're not really interested. Trust me, they're in the market. People who are, unless they're a real estate agent, they don't go driving around checking out open houses, right? Now they're going to say anything because we're not asking the right questions. But Gary, I mean, you'll pull up, you'll have your laptop with a search area, and you'll ask people, what will you ask them, like, to be able to engage your laptop search thing?
Oh, so, I'll have my desktop up and I'll say, hey, what did you think about that house? And they're like, well, it's just not the right fit for us. And the biggest error most people make is that we just let them move on. And it's like, no, you don't just let them walk out. You need to continue making offers of help. And so what I did is I said, well, you know what? I took the liberty of creating a search on my laptop over here. So why don't you hop on over there, just browse through and see if any of those homes suit your needs. And they'll go over there to the laptop, they'll search, and they're like, oh, this one's interesting. I'll say, you know what? I'm shutting my open house down at 4. Why don't I meet you there at 4:15? And I schedule an appointment, we go over, and we get it taken care of.
Gotcha. So I'm sure there's people who are going to say, I don't have a listing right now, or I don't have any listings ever. So you said that you can work with other people to hold their listings open, right?
Yes. And so that's a huge opportunity there, is to be able to go to other agents and find out, what listings they have, and ask them if you can host their open house.
So I'm not going to go through this in too much detail, but here's basically a script. If you're brand new, take a screenshot, but it's to be able to ask another agent to be able to hold their home open. Here's an example of doing some marketing, just going back to that 5-stage process, which is first you got to acquire the opportunity, then you got to promote the event, get it ready, make sure you know what to say, and then follow up. And so here's an example of, for us, what we'll do is we'll market it on Facebook, we'll market it on Google, we'll market it out to our networks. And here's just an example of one of the ads that we might run. A couple of key things here, though, if you could maybe speak to this, which is the basically your signage strategy, right? Gary, did I lose you? I can't see or hear you. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about Gary's open house, his signage strategy, since we've lost him here for a second. All right. So basically what you want to do is make sure that your branding is on the signs, because you want to be able to have the impression of your logo or of your firm everywhere you can. Here's something to also note, like on average, when we do an open house, Gary's placing 20 signs out, because it's not just about the directions, it's about the branding impression. Because as people are cruising through that neighborhood, they see that you are the one who is selling the real estate. That's one of the reasons why the open house strategy is so effective, is because you see that you're the one who's selling the real estate. A couple other things is put signs 3 to 4 miles out from all major points to promote the brand, with every half-mile new directional signage. And just make sure you put the sign out long enough for exposure, like the day before if possible. You can't always do that depending on where it is, but you want to give it as much space as possible. Which leads us then to the fifth way. Gary, did we get you back?
Bam.
Okay, you're back. We're moving on to the fifth one, for the sake of time. So the next thing is to be able to handle the concern of what happens after a lead gets generated, right? So here's a typical exchange. I don't know if you guys can read the text in this phone, so I'll read them for you guys. It says, hey, we're thinking of moving to Westlake. What do you dislike about it? Oh, we love it here. Schools are great, good neighbors, etc. But you got to negotiate to get a good deal these days. Cool. I'm starting to look in the area. And the response is, you should really talk to my real estate agent. She knows the area really, really well, and I got a great deal. I wouldn't work with anyone else for buying in this area. Cool. Who is it? So now this doesn't have to be a text. This could actually be two people having a conversation at coffee or on a phone or whatever the case may be. But that is a real estate conversation. And that is where word of mouth happens, right? So someone will say, oh, you got to work with Gary. The question is what happens next?
And this is the biggest issue, Chris, is that we've got to make sure that what happens next, we're in control of. Like we need to be able to predict what happens next.
I'll tell you what happens next. Most of the time, at some point, they're going to go Google you, right? So you get the referral, and then they go online, because it's not like when they get that referral, they've got the contact information. In fact, even if they did, they would probably just say, "Oh, just look them up online. You know, look her up. Her website's out there. Just Google her." And the question is, what shows up, right? Are you in control? First off, this is the first impression, or I guess technically the second impression people are going to have. Does it build trust or break it down based on the
search results? It depends on what's online. And you know what's interesting, Chris, is most people are actually trusting more what they see online these days than what the other person tells them about that realtor. Gotcha. Well, here's the thing. 97% of consumers looked online for local businesses, and 85% of consumers trust online reviews just as much as personal recommendations. I mean, here's the thing. Here's the interesting thing is that, let's say somebody that we know has a conversation with a friend of their family member about moving, and then, you know, our name comes up, and that person's thinking to themselves, okay, I'll check that person out, right? Because it's personal recommendation. So then they go online, and it's either going to build up to the personal recommendation, meaning it's going to reinforce it, or it's going to put a little bit of a chisel in there, like, you know, Gary really said that I need to work with Chris, but Chris looks like his website hasn't. I mean, I can't even find him online. His website looks like it's from 1982. Does he even sell real estate? Right? And so what can we do? Well, I put together just 5-step simple plan for building up your online reputation. First is to make sure your bio online, to update your bio, make it specific, make sure it tells a story, make sure that your name and where you live and what you do is embedded within your bio. You can buy a domain and direct a profile site to it, like the one that you see right here. This is actually one of the websites that we provide for our clients, and so it's a very simple profile site. And I just bought the domain, chrisscott.online, and then direct that. Another thing you can do is improve your LinkedIn profile to an all-star status. Usually when people search for you, if you've created a LinkedIn profile, it's going to show up in the top 5 search results. For Gary right now, it's actually the first one. Another thing, oh, by the way, setting up your LinkedIn profile, there is actually a technical term called an all-star status. And so you'll want to make sure you achieve that all-star status. Set up Yelp. Actually, Chris, that's something that you train on in our coaching program as well.
I have done some sessions. It's pretty straightforward. I don't know if we'll have time to talk about it right now, but
sure.
Another thing you want to do is to be able to make sure you include Yelp and Facebook pages. And here's why. Is Google uses Yelp, Facebook to be able to help index and understand what is a real business, what is a real estate practice. In fact, our phones, if you're using an Apple device and you're using Maps, it actually uses the Yelp reviews. So the next thing is also to utilize Google My Business for setting up reviews, because that also is going to help build up that online identity. All right. Man, we're almost halfway through, Gary, and we got.
All right. Well, we're just going to have to talk a little faster.
Okay. So this next one is called the Professional Dossier, and really, this is a tool to refer your clients, and it's basically a message that you can send out. It's a template that you can send out. I'd say maybe twice a year, Gary?
I'd say twice a year. I would send this out twice a year as a reminder, and also to make sure that anybody who's new in your database gets a copy of this.
Gotcha. So this is what the template looks like. So I'm going to come back to this template because the cover email that we send out is actually sets this whole thing up. So the subject line is "Your friends and family will thank you for this," and then it reads something like this. Have you ever found yourself in a serious bind? You'd be surprised how often I've run into people who are trying to buy or sell a home, who aren't my clients yet, and found themselves stuck at a standstill or heading for disappointment. Though I'm always happy to help these folks out, they wouldn't have been in this situation if they'd hired the right professional to start with. Have you ever had that happen to you, Gary? where you ended up helping somebody because they were in a bind, and then you probably didn't even get
Well, we
paid
talked
for it?
about this is that, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I get phone calls from past clients or friends and family, and they're like, hey, we hired so-and-so because they're experts in our neighborhood, and we just don't think they're doing a good job. Could you take a look at everything? I have them
Like,
call me and say, hey, can you take a look at our contract? Because I'm not sure that they're doing the best job here.
it's like,
And, you end up doing this.
ah!
I know. It's like the knife in the back. They're twisting
That's what
it.
happens
But
when
the
we don't
thing is,
stay in touch. So,
yes, and that is exactly why it happened to me.
so reading on is, which is the point of this message, because you're part of my network, I want to make sure everyone you know won't find themselves in a bind when they're buying or selling their next home. If you know someone who's thinking of buying and selling a home, please use my recently updated professional dossier to refer them to somebody they can trust. That's me. They will definitely appreciate you for helping them avoid a major pitfall when they go to buy or sell their home. And so the professional dossier, it's kind of like it's like a mini resume of sorts, right? It's got your bio.
Yeah, but it's a beautiful, well-designed, well-written resume that is, I love this. It's a professional dossier. Chris, this is something that we talk about differentiation all the time, and in linguistics, differentiation is really important. So calling something a professional dossier actually conveys and communicates that this is something much more important than a resume.
Right. Robert was asking, who do you send this to? You send this out to any one of the people that know you. Of those 600 people that know you, maybe you need to first write down a list of everybody, but it's basically anyone in your sphere of influence, because what you're trying to do is helping people avoid a disaster. And so anybody you know, this is a value so that they don't hire the wrong person. Do you guys know anybody in your marketplace where maybe you know that they're not the right person for someone to hire? Well, don't let people do that. Make sure you're communicating regularly and give them these tools of referral, because here's the thing. This is another tool of referral. You send this out to the people that you know, not so that they're going to work with you, but so that when they have that real estate conversation, they've got something to send to the person that they know. And
it's another reminder during the year. It's another reminder during the year of who you are and what you offer.
Yeah, ideally, you're going to communicate with your database several times a month, but in different modes, right? In fact, soon we're going to talk about this concept of omnipresent marketing. But omnipresent marketing is where you're showing up at all times in all places, which allows you to send this type of information frequently throughout the year. So we'll talk more on that, but I wanted to shift gears a little bit and start talking about adding new people into our sphere of influence. And Gary, this is something that you're like crazy effective at, which is building up your professional network.
Yeah.
And so you told me.
Yeah, so this is one thing that's really important here, is that there are people out there that we in real estate are sending business to every single transaction. These are people that we're meeting through the process of a real estate transaction. These are folks who are providing services for our clients on our behalf. And the thing is that we're not building relationships with them, and we're not asking for anything in exchange. And that's a big, big mistake.
Well, you said there's some 100 people. We documented some 100 people that you could potentially refer, right?
Yep.
And so these people represent two things. One is they themselves might be a source of business or a source of referral. But if we provide value to them, then we can at least secure refer to business, right? If we provide relevant value. So how do you do this? Well, the first thing is you want to make a list of professionals. This is like landscapers. I mean, really, it's anybody that you might refer. It could be doctors, lawyers, dentists, right? But you want to make a list and then just start scheduling meetings with them. And here's a script that you can use. And I definitely recommend using the phone and not trying to like half-butt this by doing emails and stuff like that. So you'd say, hey, Gary, this is Chris with Kraft Partners. How's business going? Hey, how interesting. Well, the reason for this call is to see if I can refer you to my clients.
Everybody's going to be like, well, of course.
What service provider, what business person is going to be like, well, I really don't want you to do that. So the service you provide is exceptional. Right now, here's the thing. I definitely recommend that you work with people that you've had some kind of interaction with, but maybe you are getting a referral to somebody. And so you can say, I've heard your service is exceptional. Pause for 2 seconds for effect. And then say, in my line of work, clients often need referrals to services you provide. Can we grab coffee or meet in the next week or so I can learn more about your business and how to best refer you? And then you sit down, you have a meeting. Ask them questions, learn about their business, right? Tell them to tell you about their product or service, explain their role, find out what they're focused on, learn about what their priorities are so that you can understand how to best help them. I think, Gary, that what you're really effective is listening and then making offers of help to draw a connection, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing is Chris, I learned this from somebody you used to work with, Brian Buffini. He touts, if you hand it out in slices, it comes back in loaves. And so here's the key is give, give, give. And then you have the right to maybe ask for something in return. But more often than not, you don't even have to ask, because when you give so much, people they love to reciprocate. So this is like the reciprocation tactic.
Well, what would happen after you're getting to know them and asking questions so you can understand how to best serve them? You can switch gears and just share about your business and how you focus on building relationships. Explain to them how you often run into situations where you need to refer clients, and like ask them, what's the best way for me to refer you? You know, do you want me to call you? Do you want me to send a text message, do an email intro? I mean, what makes most sense, right? And so this is a dialogue about how to provide service. Now, the natural consequence, the natural next response is for them to say, gosh, they're doing this for me. What can I do for you? Oh, well, just if you come across an opportunity to refer me, that's what I would appreciate. Here's how you can best refer me. Okay. All right. Let's keep moving, Gary. We got to get to
I know we got more to go. Oh, my favorite one, Chris,
tips.
Omnipresent marketing. Omnipresent. This is everybody stop. Like if you're looking at the TV or something else, stop, focus on Chris. This is critical.
Yeah, I saw a question asking when I mentioned omnipresent marketing, somebody was asking what's the best way to stay in touch, and it's all things. Omnipresent marketing, by definition, is when we show up in the peripheral vision of our clients' lives all the time, right? It means they're seeing us on Facebook. Maybe they're getting our newsletter. We may be leaving voicemails or having phone conversations with them. Maybe we're on Messenger with them. They're seeing us on Instagram. They're seeing our open house signs that, you know, when they drive throughout the neighborhood. But they're constantly getting some mode of interaction and communication from us on the regular, so that when they have that conversation with somebody, we're immediately top of mind. It's not like they have to think about it. It's like the first thing that pops in their head when real estate comes up is Gary. Now, if we've done a good job and give them those tools to refer us, like our professional dossier, and soon I'll show you another excellent one called our client welcome kit, then not only will they think of us, they're going to say, let me give you Gary's dossier. Let me give you Gary's client welcome kit, right? So here's just a couple of examples, right? So we're marketing our real estate. We're marketing real estate tips. We are putting video out there and sharing that information. One of the most effective ways to be able to use and implement omnipresent marketing is through implementing an MVP, or a monthly value program. This is where
this is absolutely critical. Absolutely critical.
If you do nothing else out of this entire thing and you implement this and send this out to everybody you know, then you're going to start winning, right? So what's an MVP? This is where you're sending something of value, right? Some valuable information every month to everybody you know in every form of communication possible, right? So you're going to post a blog post. You're going to produce a newsletter or a report that you can share to your database or to all those people that you know. You're going to publish it on Facebook. You're going to publish it on Instagram. Gary, you always talk about how important it is to pick up the phone and have conversations, right? And so what would you say? You would say, hey, Gary.
Yeah, just checking in to see how things are going. How was your summer? But always do this after you do social research. And social research is going to Facebook, to LinkedIn, to Instagram, and see what's going on in people's lives. So then you actually have something to talk about more than just what we're sending. I mean, just if you know what's going on in somebody's life, isn't that a little more important to do? Now I can actually pick up the phone and say, hey, Chris, oh my gosh, I am so sorry about your dog that ran away. You know, whatever it is. It's, you know,
you're pitching. You don't want to ask a question like, how was your summer? And they're like, yeah, Fido ran away. And you're like, uh-oh.
After grandma died and the house burned down.
Take a moment, do some social research, and then that way you can call and have some care and compassion. One of the
Yeah.
little tips I learned from a guy named Rick DeLuca was to use this phrase to be able to switch gears. So, you do that initial personal connection, and then you're trying to figure out, how do I talk about real estate? And he would say, look, just use the hat switching game. So you'd say, after you ask about, hey, how things are going, you have your little chit chat, you say, hey, Gary, let me put my real estate hat on for a second, right? That's all he did. Let me just put my real estate hat on for a second. Hey, I recently sent out some information on relocation and wanted to see if you had any questions about it. It's common for people to experience stress when moving, so please feel free to share this information with people that you know. Well,
I love that. The real estate hat. I love that trick.
I know, because you're oftentimes, here's the thing. Your clients don't want to, likely, as you're staying in touch, unless they're thinking of making a move or they've encountered somebody who does, they don't want to have a 50-minute phone conversation. So it's like, have your little chit chat for 10 minutes, switch gears, and get off the phone, right? But here's the thing. Make sure you're asking and offering help. What can you do for them, and making yourself available? So, well, if you or anyone you know could use some real estate advice or could use a referral for a trusted service provider, right, from my professional network, hence notice the link to the previous campaigns, please don't hesitate to ask. As a service to everyone in my work, I plan on reaching out. And this is a big thing, Gary, is to set expectations for future communication. As a service to my network, I plan on reaching out from time to time to see if there's any help or service I can offer. So I'll be checking with you in the future. Is there anything I can do for you? And then pause. If they know somebody who's moving or they themselves are thinking moving, this is when they'll fill in the information and they'll say, no, I'm good. All right. I'll be talking to you soon. And then you move on to the next campaign. Now, I had to include this particular campaign, which, by the way, this re-engagement later, how much gross commissions did this make us?
$80,000.
It was like 80 grand. We sent this out. We're guilty like the rest of you. Maybe there's been a gap in time when you've communicated with your clients. And so we sent this engagement letter out. It was basically, hey, my apologies. You're entitled from a confession from me. I haven't stayed in as close contact with you as I would have liked. I apologize. This was my fault. I've recently recommitted myself to working by referral and now understand the kind of people I want to work with are just like you. What does this have to do, you might be asking? In order to work by referral, I intend to take better care of you in hope of earning your referrals in the future. My first order of business, take better care of you, is to provide you tools, resources, and real estate tips and advice from time to time. Here's my first resource from you, my firm's newly updated YouTube channel, and you'll find videos, so on and so forth. Now, here's what you can do. If you haven't communicated in a while and you're going to start sending out your MVP, that would be the first letter. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing, because we sent we had we're guilty like everybody else. We had a lapse in our communication for about, I don't know, a few months, was it, or longer?
Yeah, it was more than 3 months. And so when we sent out this re-engagement letter, what did it do? It generated 2 listings and 1 buyer. Oh no, I'm sorry, 2 buyers and 2 listings, like that. And so, and what did that generate for us is over $80,000 in gross commission income off of 1 email, which I guarantee we would not have gotten had we not stayed in touch and sent this letter.
I would not set the expectation that would happen for you guys, that you sent this re-engagement letter out and all of a sudden business starts flying out. Like it shocked the crap out of us, by the way, when we did that. We were like, Gary was like, I got another one. But the key here with your MVP and sending that information out is consistency. Consistency over time. That's how you build trust. That's how you build top of mind placement through omnipresent marketing. And when you provide tools of referral, then you secure that business. The next thing I'm going to kind of gloss over because I want to spend more time on our client welcome kit. But career news, anytime something special happens, you change brokerages, you change offices, you learn something new by going to a program or something like that, email it. Here's an example of one that we did that we shared with folks. But I want to get on to the next one called the client welcome kit, because this is so important, right? This fixes the leaky bucket problem that all of our businesses have. So you have opportunities that come up and you're losing them. Right? Like one of the places that we lose them is when people refer us and go online and they never follow up because they didn't like what they saw online. Well, here's the thing. Leads and prospects are clients too. And this next tool is we're able to turn more of those leads and prospects into clients, at the same time giving your clients a tool to refer you to, right? And it's called our Client Welcome Kit. So I'm just going to kind of go through these and talk about what's in here, Gary. So,
yeah, absolutely. So he's going to go through this. Then we're going to talk about tools and resources, and then we're getting to Q&A. We have a ton of questions, so keep them coming.
All right. So remember, this is you want to send, Gary. When do you send this out?
I send this out as soon as I get contact information of a new prospect. I am going to make an assumptive close and assume that that prospect is going to become a client. So I'm going to go ahead and start treating them like a client right off the bat.
Now, here's another thing you guys can do. If you've never used a Client Welcome Kit, is send this to everybody that you know, letting them know that you just created one and that they can use it to be able to help refer people or for them to get more information. And here's where it becomes of use, because it's not about you. Make sure your Client Welcome Kit has lots of resources, right? Ours has education and information on home buying. We'll want to communicate the advantages of working with us when it comes to buying a home. We want to make direct offers of help on what we are going to do. And this is just offering my home buyer direct access program so that it gives them something concrete to be able to respond to, right? When you make very specific offers, it's easier for people to respond to it and to act on it. We also want to talk about the advantages of selling with us and provide lots of home selling resources. In our case, a lot of these are videos, but you can also link to, like, you could link to your own blog some of these things if you've got a blog with information. And if you don't, you could link to realtor.org, right, the National Association of Realtors site, where they've got plenty of information to be able to educate buyers and sellers and basically people in the real estate market. Same thing, we want to make a direct offer of help here in the form of an expert home value analysis. Is basically is a listing presentation. We just package it up. Let them know you're going to send out your MVP and that they're going to receive monthly reports. Let them know you're going to run contests and that you got a professional network for them to be able to access if they need a referral. And then, of course, make it easy for you to contact you, right? And so this is the example of the Client Welcome Kit. It is a tremendous tool of referral. Oftentimes, we make it hard for our clients to refer us because, one, we don't stay in touch. Two, we don't the omnipresent marketing, and then we don't give them the tools, the physical tools to be able to pass along. We rely very heavily on them to remember who we are and then say, oh, you got to work with Gary. He's awesome. And then that's it. Provide them with a resource. So I got a question for everybody. If I mentioned earlier that those of you who wanted that builder program template, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are probably wondering, hey, how can I access that Client Welcome Kit? We are going to offer the templates as a special offer today. So if you want the templates from today's training, that's the Client Welcome Kit that I just shared with you, and the Builder Program Kit, which we shared earlier in today's presentation. If you want those, all you have to do is join our club. Gary and I have a club, and you join it for $67, and you're going to get those templates as a bonus gift from us today. Now, our club includes a digital marketing campaign every single month. You get prospecting letters, emails, reports. In fact, this marketing campaign allows you to implement that MVP, or monthly value program. So we provide you a new one every month. We provide you with a blog post. We provide you with emails to be able to send out. We send you the report to be able to send out. Then this example, this is actually, I think, this month, it was 7 steps to a seamless move. So you get a report, you get social media posts like Facebook posts to be able to share, Instagram content to share, even a phone script we're going to give you so that you can implement that entire omnipresent marketing concept using the MVP. We're also going to provide you with a marketing website. Marketing website it's not meant to replace your existing website. It's just one more way for you to be able to, for your clients to be able to find you. And here's an example of that site. And so it's a marketing website. We automatically post blog posts on your behalf, so it's always up to date. You can even add listings and lead generation pages there as well. We have a template library. I mean, there's literally the hundreds and hundreds of templates that you can download, including the professional dossier template that is in our template library, as well as that re-engagement letter that I shared with you guys earlier. All of those are templates within our template library. We've got a training library where you can learn how to utilize templates and resources and do all the things that Gary and I do in our real estate practice. We even do 2 group coaching sessions on the first and third Wednesday of every single month. If you can join us live, if not, don't worry. We always record them and post them on our website, but it does give you an opportunity to be able to ask Gary or myself very specific questions on what's going on and where you need help in real estate. You can easily cancel our club online, hassle-free, with no questions asked. There's no contract, there's no commitment. You can cancel it at any time. I've got an extra bonus gift, however. When you sign up right now, I'm going to throw in our 30-day sales action plan. This is a step-by-step, day-by-day plan on what you need to do to be able to implement and start generating more opportunities. It's also going to show you how to best utilize that MVP and show you how to organize your database, how do you get all the information of people you need to contact, and how to send that out, and the method in which to follow up. So it's a really great action plan. So you don't have to really think about what you're doing. You just dive in and start implementing things. Now, it might take you longer than 30 days because it's like sequential, and you might want to take a couple of days off every week. So it might take you 45 days. And then what I would suggest is you just start all over again, because it's all about consistency. And so there's that second page of the sales action plan. Now, before we wrap up, I wanted to share a client story, and it comes from Teresa. Teresa says that I wanted to say a huge thank you to the Paperless Agent team. Thank you, Gary, Jordan, Chris, and the whole team behind the scenes. We actually tripled our income in 2017. They sold over $9 million, all because they followed the Paperless Agent plan. They started doing open houses again. They followed the sales action plan, and they reignited their client contacts by using that MVP. They'd been with another office for 13 years and never had that level of marketing material. So as the saying goes, plan your work and work your plan. PA gives you the plan. You just need to work it. And thank you, everyone, to the private Facebook group who generously shares. And so thank you, Teresa. So if you guys want to join the club and download all of those templates and get access to those templates right now, just go to there's an offer button that should pop up on your screen. And that's going to be the easiest, most effective way to start taking advantage of it. Now, I do suggest that you sign up for it right now. Sign up for the club right now. That way you can get that bonus gift that only is available today. And with that,
absolutely. And so, Chris, what I did is I turned my camera off because people couldn't see the whole screen, but I'm back now. And what I just did is I popped up in the chat section a little icon. It says join club now. What that's going to do is it's going to take you to a page that will allow you to sign up. Remember, there's no contract, there's no commitment, and it's only $67 a month. You can cancel it anytime. Then what's going to happen for everybody who signs up today is you are going to instantly receive an email with your login information. You're going to be able to go in and log in right now. And you can download the client welcome kit templates that Chris and I went over today. You can modify those into any which format that you want. You can download the builder program kit template, modify that, customize the branding. And when you sign up right now, you get our 30-day action plan summary. Now, one thing I want to point out here, Chris, is this 30-day action plan summary. This plan came from my work with one of our coaching members. She's like, I need business right now. And I said, what are you doing? And so she said, well, I'm not really doing all that much. And so you and I sat down, we created this whole plan of everything that you can do to just catapult and launch your business and start generating new leads and closing new deals. Chris, I don't know if I shared this with you, but within the first 2 weeks of her being in the 30-day action plan, she had secured 10 new clients, 10 brand new clients that did not exist to her before. And so if you want all of this, like she did, go sign up right now, and we'll see you in our club. And with that, Chris, I know we have a ton of questions here, and I'd like to get to those now. Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. Michelle says, my colleague needs a website. What do you suggest? Well, I suggest that you go grab that colleague right now and say, come here, come sign up for the Paperless Agent, because through that, your colleague is going to get a website. Chris is actually going to pull up, he's going to pull mine up right now. So this is an example of the website that they're going to get. We are going to automatically populate your website with new blog articles every single month. In addition, you get all of these landing pages where you can create landing pages for all of your listings, landing pages for all of your sold properties, for open houses. You'll have landing pages for anything. You can create landing pages for a What's My Home Worth campaign. So you're going to get all of that when you sign up today.
Now, the only thing is, if your colleague needs a website with IDX, that ours is not a full IDX solution. This is a profile website that's been expanded to be able to market listings and be able to use for lead generation, but it does not include like an IDX integration.
Well, that was fast. Michelle said she just joined. There you go. It doesn't get faster than that. Okay, Marilyn has a question, Chris, and you can address this. Is there a newsletter? So you want to talk about that for a second?
Sure. So we provide you with what you need to do to implement a marketing campaign every single month, that monthly value program or MVP. And so there's a website, blog post, there is an email, there is a newsletter in a PDF format that you can send out. We also have a, I didn't mention this, but we also offer an email marketing tool. So you'll be able to send this out in HTML if you'd like to, or in a, a designed email. And as well as social media posts for Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest. I didn't have all of them in here, as well as scripts. So, I mean, it's really everything that you need to be able to implement that program. I saw a question from Jay Sutton, who was asking, how are you guys different from Buffini's program? And I would say that we're very different, first off, because Brian offers like a coaching program, right? We don't do one-on-one coaching. I would see we're a marketing and education company. So we provide you guys with marketing resources, and then we provide programs, tools, templates. We could talk all day about all the different things that are included in there, but I think the main emphasis is where, Gary and I sell real estate. We have a real estate practice in Austin, Texas. And so as we go implement these things, we share what we're doing. One of the things you're going to find is that we have an heavy emphasis on using the new tools, the new technologies, the stuff that's working, and wrapping that around the principles of real estate, right? So we're going to use tools like email marketing, Facebook marketing, YouTube marketing. We're going to use those tools, but just direct them to the principles of what works. So we're going to direct that towards our databases. We're going to direct that towards our sphere of influence. We're going to direct that towards our farm areas. And so our emphasis is really making sure that we're keeping everything like what's working right now. And how do I take the tools that are available as today, right now, the new and sophisticated tools, and how do we apply that to be able to better market to our groups? Now, we don't provide one-on-one coaching. We figure that if you're ambitious and you want to get after this, you're just going to get this done, and that's where we kind of give you the tools and let you go after it.
Absolutely. All right. So like I said, all you need to do is go over, click on that blue button. It says Join Club Now, and you're going to get an email. Now, if somebody does not get an email, which happens from time to time, it's probably in your spam folder. So make sure you head on over, check out your spam folder, and it's probably there. And if you're using Gmail, it's entirely likely that it ended up in your promotions tab.
So
okay.
Only $67 a month, including everything you mentioned today. Yes.
Yep.
As long as you sign up today so that you can get that sales action plan. But all those things that we talked about when you sign up today, Maha, are what you get.
Regina says, I'm a new agent and looking for a roadmap to get started. Welcome, Regina, and welcome to all of our new coaching club members. This is awesome. So yeah, Maha, make sure you go sign up, and we'll get to our next question.
I see one from Susan. She's saying that for Facebook advertising, how are you choosing audience insights? I'm marketing a $4 million listing, and Facebook has said I am not utilizing my money correctly. We're marketing a $6 million, actually a $5.9 million listing right now, and we're using Facebook for it. We do I want to show you guys something for those of you who are becoming members. Is one of the tools that you're going to want to access is the training library. And so, Susan, we do a lot of training on how to do Facebook advertising and directing that towards your database. And so when you log into the website, when you become a member, you're going to see that you get your MVP is located in this monthly digital marketing campaigns. Where you would set up your marketing website is under this this agent ID site. This marketing suite is where it's like an email news. You can email out newsletters using our email platform. And then in this coaching club, this is where you access our training library. So you just come in here under the resource library and then do coaching club sessions by topic. And then we'll just sort it by Facebook real quick here, Facebook marketing, because that was a Facebook question. And this Facebook audience and list building tools is the session where we showed you how to best market real estate now. So when I always do updates to our entire client group, we do twice a month. If something new happened with Facebook or YouTube or any one of the marketing platforms that we're using, we'll give you guys an update. In fact, I want to say we've got like 4 to 6 listings. One of them is land, and then there's like 4 or 5 other listings that we're marketing right now. And so we run into that situation all the time, Susan. I've had to overcome that. Likely, if you're marketing a $4 million listing, you're not putting it in front of the right people. But I will share with you, we've got one here that is it's actually a what is it? 5.9? Yeah, 5.95.
It's 5.95, yeah.
And so, yeah, we're very familiar. And I have this marketed on Facebook, YouTube, Google Ads, and the whole bit. Okay, so next question.
Next question. Ronnie says, how will this work for someone who is absolutely not tech savvy? Do you walk us through how to post to various websites, etc.?
Yeah, it's very straightforward. We have all the instructions on what to do. Now you're going to see, like I said earlier, here's what I'm going to suggest you guys do, is pick a handful of the 12 things that we talked about today. Most of them only require that you have some familiarity with a computer. You don't need a lot of effort to be able to update that client welcome kit and send it out to people, right? There's not a lot of effort required to update that professional dossier, get it out to people. You might say, well, gosh, I don't know how to email folks. Print it out and deliver it then. Whatever you got to do. The main thing is the interaction. The main thing is showing up. And that's where omnipresent marketing, like I oftentimes talk about omnipresent marketing. And one of the things that I think, and I didn't really mention this, is that these different modes of communication have different weights, right? They have different weighted value. So let me give you an example. Somebody seeing your post on Instagram, for example, that's good, but it doesn't carry the same weight as if you had a phone conversation with them, or if you dropped off some information and had an actual real live person interaction, right? And here's even different. Having a text message or Facebook Messenger conversation is of greater value than them just seeing an Instagram message, because there was actually a real interaction that takes place. And so by any means possible, you want to get that information out there. Now, if you're specifically talking about implementing this in the MVP program, yes, we not only provide you all the instructions and show you what to do every single month. In fact, we do every Monday. I'll just give this a quick plug. Every Monday, we do a new client kickoff meeting. So for those of you guys who sign up, keep an eye on your inboxes, because there's going to be an email inviting you to the new client kickoff meeting. And that's where our team on Monday will literally walk you through how to do all of this and what you need to do. And you can get your questions answered by like a real person on our team.
And that's a ton of values. You have access to us, you have access to our team, and we do have 2 group coaching sessions every single month. And like Chris said, if you end up missing those coaching sessions, don't worry, it's recorded and it's actually documented. So you could download the PDFs, you can do all these things with it. So a ton of value there. If you're thinking about joining, hop on over and join the club right now. I do want to give a quick shout out before we get to the next question, Chris, to our newest Paperless Agent Coaching Club members who joined during this webinar. We have Jerry, Michael, Laura, Roderick, Barbara, Karen, Lori, Joseph, Regina, Kelly Jo, Elaine, Dave, Evelyn, Marilyn, Lissa, Thomas, Corian, Jose, I'm sorry, Josie, Vera, Karen, Michael, Alicia, and Brian. So welcome to our newest coaching club members. As you join, one thing I also want to make sure that you do is in that email, you're going to get a link to our private Facebook group. Make sure as soon as you receive that, go on over to Facebook, search for it, and request to join the group because there's a ton of value going on in there. We have thousands of coaching club members who are, it's like a brain trust. They're sharing best practices of works and what they're doing that is just excelling. And what's really huge is that they're referring business back and forth. I think to this point, Chris, I've either sent or received 8 referrals through the Paperless Agent Coaching Club Facebook group alone. So head on over and join as we get to our next question.
Well, I saw that.
Oh, did you see a question?
I saw David was asking, what if you don't have their email address? That's actually something that is a regular practice, right, Gary? Can you explain to everybody how you maintain the contact information in your database? Now, if you don't have their email address, they'll reach out. If you're not friends with them on Facebook, you reach out. So can you give everyone sort of because I know you've also been recently working on this as well.
Yeah, so maintaining this is the thing, is maintaining your database is a never-ending project. It's one of those things, it's kind of like balancing your checkbook, you know. If you wait too long, and then it's going to be a painful situation to go in there and update it. But it's important to get in there and update the information at least once a week from adding people to your database and maintaining. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that you maintain all relevant information. Best way to contact them. You'll need to update their anniversary list, their home anniversary, which by the way, I'm doing right now because we're about to launch our own home anniversary move up program. So we're going to be doing that with you. And by the way, if you end up joining the club, you're going to be able to work with me, and we're going to kind of work on some stuff like that together for projects that are really important to us, and I know will help you out. So maintaining relevant data in your database is really, really important. And also making sure that you have social media links to your clients and making sure that you're friends with them on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, so that when you do social research, you know where to look and what to talk about as soon as you pick up the phone and call them. So really important to do that.
I think it's really like when you're implementing a lot of these campaigns, right? Let me go back to this number. This 600 divided by 10 equals 60, right?
Yes.
Average person moves 600 people. The average person moves every 10 years. And that means 60 people we know every year are moving. In order for us to have the opportunity to be able to find that 60, first requires that we've got good contact information, right? So your ability to stay in touch is only going to be as good as the information that you have to stay in touch with them. Does that make sense? So if you got bad emails, bad phone numbers, you're not connected to them social media or online, then you're likely not going to communicate with them. So it really is, it's almost like eating your Wheaties and doing your push-ups in the morning. It's like, every week you just got to go in there and just prune it, update it. Realize, oh, you know what? I didn't connect with them on LinkedIn. Let me connect with them on LinkedIn. Oh, I'm not connected with them on Facebook. Let me connect with them on Facebook. And that's how that practice of maintaining that. Because if you think about it, your sphere of influence that you have documented is your database. And that's the soil from which your referred and repeat customer fruit will grow.
Yeah, and it's absolutely, I think that's the critical part there, Chris, is that you have to have a system. You have to have a process in place, and you have to have the resources in order to stay in touch. And so that's why it is important that you have this omnipresent marketing, which, by the way, we create this omnipresent marketing for you. All you have to do is send it out and then continue to stay in touch with your folks. So that's all you need to do. Brian, oh, sorry.
I was going to say, Lex was asking what was 6 and 7.
Brian just asked a question. Just confirming, with your training, we can learn from your resources provided online how to create Facebook ads, tips to do more with digital marketing, generate leads, correct? Brian, here's the thing. Absolutely everything that Chris and I are doing in lead generation, marketing, sales, presentations, talk technology that we're using, everything that we're doing that is working, we share with you. And so it's not just those things that you have listed. You're getting everything that we got. And this is our coaching club session portal here that you're going to get access to today when you join. And it has loads of lists. Like, what are some of the most recent ones, Chris?
Well, I did one the other day on guerrilla marketing tactics to find clients who have a predisposition to trust you. In August, we did marketing effectiveness, client engagement tools, and marketing mindsets. Back in July, we shared with how to create and promote a YouTube channel. We did on June, Facebook's audience and list building tools, how to run a just listed campaign on Google, advanced Facebook ads for lead generation. I mean, we've talked about so many things. And then let me share with you the template library in the file box here. I wasn't kidding when I said there's hundreds of stuff. There's literally, and I can't, look, you want to implement the home anniversary campaign? There's the note template. There's the professional network campaign components. There's the professional dossier that we talked about. There's literally, I don't even know how many are in here. I think it's probably like 1,000 or something like that. I'm sure Jordan would know. But there's a ton of stuff that's in here. So anytime you have any situation or circumstance in real estate, I suggest you just come in here and run a search. Let's say you're like, hey, you know what? I need to have a home buyer guide. I need a home buyer guide. You know what? I keep hearing about people using home buyer guides. Let me send out a home buyer guide. Let me see if I could find it real quick. Home buyer guide. There it is. Home buyer guide, a template to do that. So I mean, I know there's a seller guide. There's basically tremendous amounts of information in here, and tools and templates for you to be able to put to work in your real estate business. Now, we make it easier that way, and then there's training in there, whether you want to learn how to do Facebook or YouTube or any number of advertising platforms that we're using. And there's tons of training on how to use the things that we provide. And I did see a question from Lex who was asking, hey, I missed 6 and 7. Remember, 6 was the professional dossier. That's where we talked about how to use this template. And then 7 was the professional network.
Awesome. Next question real quick, Chris. Rena says, how long is the subscription? Rena, it is month to month. You can cancel at any time. You can join right now today, and you can cancel later today.
Don't tell them that,
I don't think you will. But I don't think you will. But it's just the truth. So, and then
if you guys don't see that, here's the thing. Here's what I know is that the monthly campaigns that we provide you with every month, that's worth of the price of admission. Because I know it costs a heck of a lot more to get that stuff and get stuff produced for you than $67. So that alone is worth it. But then there's all the other stuff that you get as well.
Maha says, I'm interested in the 30 days starting. I think she's talking about the 30-day action plan. I'm new and need some help getting started. Maha, that's what we're here for. We are here to help you launch your business. We're here to help you take your business and amplify it. And if you're seasoned, we're here to help you break through that ceiling, that plateau that you may have been stuck at, by making sure that you implement everything that is going to work. And then Maha has a follow-up question. Do you have Facebook ads we can use, or do we have to create? So part of every single month in that marketing campaign, that MVP, you're going to get examples of Facebook ads with images that you can go post. So no, Maha, it's all there for you.
So Maha, I'm going to suggest that when you join and you get that 30-day action plan, it's going to take you a little bit to implement. It's going to take you longer to implement that 30-day action plan. For anyone who's brand new, by the way, I would fully expect it to take longer because you don't have any of the platform to build off of. For those of you guys who've been around, you have a huge advantage because that database thing, maybe you don't have it organized, but you have one, right? And it might be contacts on your phone that you need to download and put into a spreadsheet or whatever, but you have a huge advantage. Now, here's the thing. If you're new, you're starving for an advantage. So Maha, what you're going to want to do is take the first 2 weeks of that plan very seriously, because without a good foundation, you can't run Facebook campaigns effectively. Without a good foundation, there's no one to send the MVP. Now, here's the thing that I'm going to suggest for everybody who's new, is that
new and dear to our hearts.
is this: don't be afraid to communicate. So one of the things that happens is that you got your license, and maybe you initially told a few people, like, I got my license and I'm here to help. Great. Then what? And so you could keep reminding people that I'm available, but that people tune that out very, very quickly, and then we quickly feel like we're begging, right? Nobody wants that. More effectively is once you build up that list of people that they know you. It's one of the 600 people that know you. Heck, maybe you're a recluse like me and you only know 400 people. It still means that 40 people are going to move every single year. So then once you get that, is start providing value, right? That you implement omnipresent marketing, providing value on a regular basis, meaning that you're going to share information, and in sharing that information, that buys the attention, right? So yeah, maybe you have to spend money to get in front of them. Maybe you put a stamp on it, costs you what? I forget what a stamp costs these days, 40 some cents or something like that, put it out there. Maybe you're running an ad and you're placing it in Facebook just to your database, which is one of the things that we do. We have an audience of just the people in our database, and they always see all of our stuff. But when you implement that omnipresent marketing, the key is to do so by providing value to folks, because when you give good stuff in the form of your expertise, here's what it does. It tells people that it's just a different way to remind them that you're available to help, because it puts what they might find interesting, not what you find interesting. They don't find it interesting that you're available to help. What they do find interesting is what's going on in the market. I will tell you that. Isn't that the most common question that you get asked when you go out, Gary? How's the market?
How's the market? And you better have a really good answer.
So by sharing real estate related information, not only do you answer the questions that they might have, you communicate the fact that I am an expert. How do you do that? By sharing real estate expertise. That's what makes you the real estate expert. So even if you're new, can you can you gain expertise on what's happening on the market right now by researching the MLS, by researching the data, by asking your broker, by talking to people, by reading everything you can, so that now I'm an expert on this particular topic within real estate and I can share that? Yes, you can. And that's really the essence of implementing omnipresent marketing, but doing so more than just with showing up, but showing up with value all the time. Even with things like the client welcome kit or the professional dossier, when you package up your marketing in the form of something that's like useful to somebody else, it's like that. Remember Mary Poppins, Gary? What did she say? A spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down, right? Medicine go down. I think they remade Mary Poppins too. Anyway, so that value that we're producing is the sugar, right? That's the sugar. And then it makes the fact that it's a marketing message, the medicine, go down without even realizing there was some medicine there. So anyway,
that's right.
We'll get to the next question. I'll talk about Mary Poppins all day here.
I know. Nancy Rossi says, are there any additional fees? No, they're not, Nancy. That $67 a month, you're all in. You don't have to pay for us hosting your website. You don't have to pay to attend additional webinars. You don't have to pay for that monthly MVP, that newsletter and total pro marketing program we're giving you. It is like, what is that? It's not ragu, Chris. What is it?
It was Prego, I think. What was that?
Prego. It's sauce in there.
Yeah.
So
remember that commercial from the 80s for the spaghetti sauce? Yeah. The guy was there, and the kid's like, "Hey, Grandpa, has it got the onions?" And he's like, "It's in there." Has
it got the garlic? All right. Linda just said, I can't find the link to join. Linda, I'm going to pop that into the chat section for everybody right now. We do have we've got several more questions we're going to get to. This webinar is going to run a little bit over our regularly scheduled time, just because we want to make sure we get to as many questions as we can. So in the meantime, go over there, click on that link, and get signed up right now so that you can see us during our next coaching session, which is next week.
Yeah, it's next week.
By the way, one thing I want to mention is when you sign up today, you get access to our past coaching sessions as well. Um, and Jay Sutton has a great question here, Chris. So I'm just going to keep rolling because we got a lot of questions. The last question, can the templates be edited? And do you have templates for postcards to mail and giveaways for vendor fairs? We don't for vendor fairs, but all of the templates that you're downloading today can absolutely be modified and edited and personalized for your own branding.
And
I knew it. I knew Chris is going to show you.
Template we've ever created over the years. We created our club about 5 years ago. Almost exactly 5 years ago. And you have every template that we've ever created. I mean, there's things like builder presentations you're going to get access to, but we have home buyer presentations, the listing presentations. I mean, there's so many things that are in there, tools, templates, and resources for you to use. Let's see if we can go through some of these questions in rapid fashion.
Rapid fire. I got one real quick. Nikki says, I'm a new real estate agent and not a realtor and don't have access to NAR. How can I find homeowners that have lived in their home for at least 3 years? Tax records. Next question.
MLS. Gina says, if your broker has Google My Business, should an agent have one too? Well, I would. Because
I would. And here's the reason why. And I'm not knocking brokers and I'm not knocking agents, but here's the thing. I've been in real estate for 21 years and I have been with 4 brokerages now. So if I didn't have my own Google My Page, then I just kind of abandon it when I move to another brokerage. So
let's say somebody fills out a review using Google Reviews as part of Google My Business, and then like you leave and then you can't reference that review online anymore. That'd be a bummer.
Yeah. So I'm always a fan of having your own Facebook business page as your own realtor. David Halpern says, what if you don't have people's email addresses?
I think we answered that one earlier, didn't we?
Oh, did you? Okay. Yeah, you did. Gina says, can you combine Dossier with other marketing like the CMA?
Yes. That's a great
You absolutely can. Here's my question to you, Chris, though, is when you send out too many things in one email, can that be confusing? I mean, don't you want them just focusing on one thing?
Well, it depends. So let me
I thought we were going to do rapid fire, but we're not.
The short answer is yes, you can. Here's the thing, is that can something be too much if you're really interested in it? Let me give you an example. Think of something that you guys have wanted to purchase, or maybe something that you've dreamed about purchasing. Maybe it's a new car or a new truck, or maybe it's like getting that house on the lake one day. Or maybe it's something more immediate, like it's some gear that you want to purchase for one of your hobbies. Don't you find yourself spending an inordinate amount of time researching those types of products? Or how about this? Your last vacation. Did you just say randomly, all right, we're going to New Orleans. Let's just go. Or just find the fastest place. I don't care which hotel it is. I don't care where it is in New Orleans. Just find me the first hotel that I could stay at. No, you probably researched it a lot more than just randomly picking the first thing, right? And so our desire for the information when we're going to purchase something or when we're interested in something is almost insatiable, right? Like it'll go a really long time. So for the person who's interested, you typically can't provide enough information. Here's the thing, a person can stop reading at any time. It's not like they're forced to read it. And it's not like if there's any less information, like that's going to change it for somebody. Hey, if they're not going to read it, they're not going to read it. They're going to scan it. And that's most people. What you're trying to do is tailor it to the person who is interested. I picked New Orleans because that's actually where I'm going to be taking my wife for her birthday. And some place we've talked about for going there for years. And we finally have an opportunity to go to New Orleans. And
Very cool.
I've been studying the crap out of New Orleans because I've only been there for business. I didn't know where to go, where to stay, where to eat at, anything. Like all I knew was that my wife wanted to go to New Orleans. So I've spent probably a few hours now researching over the last 2 months New Orleans, right? So you send me an email about New Orleans, I'm paying attention to it. You send me resources related to New Orleans, I'm paying attention to it. So you really can't send me too much. There's no such thing as TMI when you're really interested. So that's the long and short of it. That's
because it's highly, highly relevant.
So for the person by the way, for the person who's referring you, don't they want to over deliver to their friend? don't they want to give more than like
Absolutely.
the minimum amount? And then for that person who's receiving
And here's why. Here's why, Chris, is because if they don't give their friend valuable information, they look like a buffoon. So you got to give them the goods, you know?
Yeah.
And Jay Sutton just said, sorry about all the questions. I hold my money accountable, but I'm in. Welcome, Jay. And, along those lines, I wanted to welcome our newest members, Brian, Darla, Lisa, Dean, Justin, Monica, William, Teresa, Angela, Terry, Brian, Nancy, Mara, Zaira, oh, cool name, and Lori, and more. So welcome to the coaching program. By the way, Lisa said same day next week. Our coaching program is on Wednesdays.
You keep saying coaching program, our club.
I don't know why I'm saying that, Chris. Our coaching club.
Our club.
Our coaching club is next. It's the first and third Wednesday at 3 p.m. Central, Lisa. So when you sign up today, you'll actually be able to go in on your portal and sign up for that coaching club session. David says, do you think that Facebook, what?
I was gonna ask his questions. Do you think Facebook ads should be 100% of your marketing budget? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So we're implementing all of the things that I shared with you. So for a lot of things, it's sending an email out, which means there's no money associated with it. And so where I'm spending money right now would be Facebook is one, and then Google Ads is the other. And it's probably split down the middle, right? So Google Ads used to be known as Google AdWords. It allows you to do 3 different types of campaigns that I'm currently using. It's where somebody searches on Google and comes up with something. It's when people are going around Google and they can see those display banner ads. And then my favorite one right now is actually placing ads on YouTube. And you can even have stuff show up in Gmail. But right now, my favorite one is on YouTube because we're getting, and it's only like $0.01 or $0.02 to have somebody watch 30 full seconds of video on YouTube. It's kind of like the Wild West right now. I don't think it's always going to be like that way, but it is that way right now. So it's my favorite place to market. But yeah, so between Google and Facebook, that's where most of our money goes.
2 more questions. One is, Jane says, the majority of my home sellers have left the state of California. Do I still keep in touch with them as they no longer live here? Absolutely. And there's so many reasons why. Number one is you need to educate them of how to refer business. And also you need to educate them of when they go move somewhere else, everybody they meet, you need to have them say, oh gosh, you know what? My realtor in California is amazing and she has the best network of professionals to refer you to. Let me find the best agent for you. And then number 3, what happens if and when they move back to town? Don't you want to be top of mind for them? So you never, ever, ever. So actually, I'm not going to say never. There are 2 times you delete people from your database. Number 1 is when they die, and number 2 is when they say, you know what? I'm never buying another home from you ever again. Go bye-bye. You know, those are the only 2 times, Jane. So always keep those people in your database and always stay in touch. And then Chris, Janie said, I'm in. Can you share with me one more time what I get before I sign up?
Yeah, you get the client welcome kit templates that we shared with you earlier today, the builder program kit templates, and the 30-day sales action plan when you sign up today. And that's when you join our club. Remember, with our club, you're going to get a monthly marketing campaign delivered to you every single month for you to implement that MVP, where you get a blog post, you're going to get a cover letter, you're going to get a newsletter, you'll get social media posts to be able to share for Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and even scripts that you can use. You're going to get all of that. Plus, you're also going to get a website every single month. Website with blog posts posted for you automatically every single month. You're going to get access to our template library where there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different templates and tools for you to utilize. And then you're also going to be able to access our training library where everything we train on, everything we are doing in our own real estate practice, we're going to share with you guys. That spans the whole gamut. It's everything from technology to sales to marketing to operations on what to say when you're doing an initial consultation. And we pretty much cover everything that we possibly can. And the archives are pretty rich. They're really deep with information, and I suggest that you check that out. And so you're going to be able to get all of that when you join the club today. And remember, there's no contract, there's no commitment. And so you'll be able to cancel anytime online, hassle-free. But our hope is that you're going to stay with us. You're going to continue to send out those marketing resources every single month. You're going to continue to utilize that website that we've provided you. And then you're going to check us out on the live training sessions when you can join us.
Excellent. And with that, Chris, I know we're way over time. Everybody stuck with us for an hour and 40 minutes. So I have a ton of gratitude to everybody. If you haven't signed up, go sign up right now. Take advantage of this special offer that Chris put together for you. And any final words for everybody, Chris?
No, I look forward to seeing you guys on the next training session next week. And then also in the private Facebook group when you guys join.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. We will see you guys in the coaching club, and we'll see you online.
Take care.